What's that? Oh, the tumbler? Oh, you wouldn't be interested in that.
Welcome to the Fandom Outpost, your podcast for all things pop culture.
Hey, fandom, welcome back to me. This is going to be an interesting one, I must say, because we've done a lot of prep and a lot of conversation about this fun topic that we're about to do. As always, I am 1/3 your host. My name is Mark.
Jim.
And I'm Bob. Hi, everybody.
And what are we doing today, fellas? Somebody take the reins on this.
How did this topic come up?
Okay. All right. I'm going to start.
Let's name names.
Yes, let's name names. So I got this friend named Bob, and I don't know what the fuck
Is he
happened.
a friend?
He likes to collect things.
Yeah, I don't know at this point, man. I was cursing his name about 2 weeks ago because here I am just rooting through stuff to try to find everything. So we were talking about cars, and all three of us, believe it or not, folks, like we're not gearheads. We're not really that much into it, but Bob found this love for miniatures, diecast. Yeah, cars of movies, like with appearing movies, and it started this whole conversation. But more than that, Bob, I don't know what happened to my friend Bob, but he went apeshit. And he just started going down this rabbit hole and finding all this stuff and sending pictures. And for some weird reason, like a conspiracy movie, like it got me. You know?
Swept up.
It was
like,
infectious.
You can't see him back there, but like it was. And it's still infectious until about yesterday, where I said, I'm out. That's it. I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
You'll be back in.
But it was so funny because, like, it almost – Jim, what did you say?
Oh, it was FOMO. It was fear of missing out is what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. And all because of that damn Christine car.
Yeah, I found a Christine diecast at a Target. I'm like, I've never seen this before. This would go good with my John Carpenter shelf.
Yeah,
and I can
we're
just
all
kind of put it
Carpenter
next
fans,
to all the movies. And yeah, so
And-
it was
but
like,
it
that's
does,
how it
though,
started.
Yeah, he's got that
Like-
John Carpenter. Bob really loves Halloween, so he's got this really sweet setup for Halloween. And that's how it started. And then, but Jim brought up something good even today, right before we started. He said something about when somebody gets one, he feels better. Like, oh, I don't need to get that now.
Right.
Where I think I might be opposite, where I'm like, I gotta get that now.
Oh, yeah.
Because Bob will be like, look what I got. This is so cool. And look at the door, and I'll be like, damn, that is cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Because it's like a little unboxing in front of you. A real life unboxing.
Yeah. But I'm a very specific collector now, and I there's certain things that I don't do no more. And boy, I had never, whatever Bob was smoking, like passed into the air. He doesn't really do that, folks. Disclaimer. But like, God, boy, I tell you, I got caught up in that thing. I even went to a toy show with the purpose of looking for cars for these guys, and didn't find nothing, hardly anything, which was really weird. But holy cow.
You got to keep it specific. That's the whole thing. We talked about that just in collecting in general.
Yeah, it's focus.
There's only so much room you have to enjoy your collection, so it's like you should really curate it and keep it nice and condensed.
Yeah.
Well, I saw something on a young lady the other day on collecting on YouTube, and she said, I collect my childhood. I thought that's the best statement I've ever heard because that's Bob. Bob has always been like, these are pieces of my childhood. I collect my childhood. Now, I never did cars, so this was kind of new, and I got scared, and I felt like I was a junkie, and I went in withdrawals, and I got to get this car, and I got to do that, and where's my next fix coming from? So I was like, I can't do that.
Well, you start research. You start
Bow out.
researching on what have I missed since all this time I haven't been collecting this, right?
Yeah.
You start looking on eBay and
then you're like, how did I not see that at the store, 5 years ago or whatever?
right.
Yeah, where was that? Yeah, exactly. Wow. We're going to kind of go down a little bit of memory lane and modern lane and...
Well, just movie TV cars that we find significant in our love of films and TV, what they meant for us as we were growing up. And even as adults, we appreciate whatever vehicles, mainly cars. We wanted to kind of start off back in our youth, right, in our childhood.
So, what is it that drives our fandom? Right, where does it all begin?
Right.
Yeah.
For me, it started. I used to build model kits. I used to build, and it was always a cool race car. It was usually the funny car. The funny cars were all. I love the funny cars. The Don the Snake Prudhomme. I remember building his model kit. That was an awesome thing in the 70s, and cars were the big thing. And as we get into it, I'm sure it was because of the car culture that came out from the probably the 60s. I think we talked about before we started the show. That whole car culture thing. I don't know if you guys want to dip into that for a minute, because that was a big deal coming into the 70s when we were kids. Cars were a big thing. I mean, and all the TV shows or cool movies had a really cool car in it. You know, like Bullet or whatever. You know, it was always like a cool.
Bullet.
Yeah, you got to get Bullet in there. That Mustang is awesome.
I know, but I was talking about Bullet, and Bullet's one of those weird ones because it's like it's a one-off. It's not TV. It doesn't really hang around, but there's a connection there, and I want to talk about it a little bit later on. But
so other cars, I guess, from our youth. I mean, what do you guys think of when you think of coming up through, growing up? I mean, I have a little die-cast car I keep on my desk. And it's my original little Batmobile.
Oh, yeah.
It's missing the sticker. It's missing Robin.
Yeah, that looks like a Corgi right? Batmobile. Yeah, Corgi Batmobile. Yeah.
And it has the little...
it has a trailer.
Little thing you push the thing.
It has a trailer hook on the back.
It would shoot out things off here. And then there was a little blade thing would come off the front. But I'm missing the stickers and Robin But these things go pretty for a lot, I guess, if it's in mint condition. But it doesn't. It just means more to me that this is what I played with when I was about 7 or 6 or whatever, probably.
I love that you still have that from your youth. Like you actually physically played with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When I was a kid, that thing got went on a lot of missions.
That's
solved a lot of crimes.
No man is above the law, and no man is below it.
The streets of Garden City were clean. That's all we can say.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Somebody create the technology.
Thank you, citizen.
Where we can peer into somebody's brain to look at that stuff. Yeah. Oh my God, that's great. The streets of. I'm gonna lose it.
Well, what were cars that you guys? I mean, Batman was huge when we were kids.
Well, if you think about it for a second, so we come out of the 50s, right? My mom helped a great deal with this when I was younger because she lived. Her prime time was like the 50s with the sock hop cars,
right?
And all those, the stuff from American Graffiti and things like that. So I was like, "What was it with you guys in cars?" She's like, "Well, it was mostly boys, because they could pick up girls." I was like, "All right." But if you come out of that, it switches to hard muscle.
Yeah.
A Bullet.
That's the American obsession, right? With muscle cars.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely, man. You go from that kind of cool, what was that place you used to hang out? The malt shop or whatever it was.
Right.
I think of the kid from Christine, his friend pulling up in that 77 Chevelle of his. And he had that, and just the sound of those mufflers coming up that driveway. But she's like, "Don't you think it's a little loud stuff?" "Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Cunningham." But dude, that's a boss ass car, and I've never been into that. But I kind of skipped the like with Jim. I want him to talk about that whole television had to have a car. I kind of skipped a lot of that. I went to like the 70s boss cars.
I mean, we get a lot of things in cartoons, right? I mean, I remember Speed Racer being a real big deal when I was a kid on TV, and this car had everything under the sun that came out of it, and the cars he raced against had all that. And then you get cartoons like, of course, the Mystery Machine from Scooby-Doo is, undeniably
my favorite. One in my head.
Yeah, undeniably.
My favorite was Speed Buggy. I love
Speed Buggy.
Speed Buggy was my favorite.
And I love Speed Buggy. There was a cheap live-action knockoff of that called Wonder Bug. That was a thing. But we had things like the Wacky Races, right? The Wacky Races was a cartoon.
I honestly did forget about Speed Buggy until just now. Is that the dude that had the weird?
Yeah.
Is that guy?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I used to love Speed Buggy.
Speed
Wow,
Buggy was
bringing back
great,
childhood right there, Bob. Thanks.
But we get into like the live action stuff in the '60s, and I think it was because of Batman and the popularity of the Batmobile, which started life as a different car. It's in an Elvis movie. It's a Ford Futura concept car, is what it is.
Yeah, that's right.
But we get things like the Monkey Mobile, and we get things like Partridge Family has their signature bus, right? All right, so insert "Come On, Get Happy" right here. Yep, and then
Monsters.
and it's amazing as much monster stuff that I collect. I don't have any monster vehicles, and those were real.
I can't believe it.
I'm kind of shocked.
I'm
at that
shocked
too,
at myself. I think I might lose some cred there that I don't own either the Dragula.
The Monsters had two.
They had the Dragula.
They had Dragula. They had the Monster Coach.
The Monsters Coach,
and then the Dragula, right, with Grandpa's car.
Damn.
And one of the great things about those, other than having it on your show, and they didn't drive them every episode, but one of the great things is those vehicles can then go on tour, and you can go see them at Autorama, or they can make an appearance at a shopping center, and helps promote
promote the show.
The show without having to have your people there. And actually, they made I forgot what kind of car Yvonne DiCarlo drove as a personal car, but it was like a sports car, and they made her a special. They tweaked it out for her with like a cobweb grill or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, those all going out on tour. They still do that nowadays.
Yeah, they still come. I
don't know if they're
they still come around.
Or if they're the originals, but yeah, they still come around. And now, like the cars just get added to it, so you'll see like Ecto 1.
That's coming
to the tour and stuff.
That's coming to my neighborhood for free comic book day. They're bringing an Ecto 1 to my hometown for the comic store.
That's awesome,
How fun!
It's still around.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm really tempted to just go get a picture with it.
Why not? Why wouldn't you?
I know. If I'm available that afternoon,
great.
I may just drop over there.
Yeah, that's great. Well, all those boss cars that end up in all the high octane movies, French Connection, Bullet.
Right. Yeah, we get into all the cop stuff, right?
Yeah, that's the thing,
Starsky
so
and
cops
Hutch.
got to have a good car. You know what I mean? Oh, Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the crown jewel of the
70s TV cars. Yes, that is the
TV car.
Yeah,
the king.
I was talking to Jim about that. We have this funny thing about how do crooks are so dumb in television shows. How do they not know that car belongs to a cop coming after them? Now, for the most part, Starsky and Hutch were detectives, so they weren't undercover. So it worked. They could roll up on something. You're like, oh shit, the fuzz is here. Like you would know that. I get it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that led us to the whole Crockett undercover, and it just became unraveled because that's just wow.
No one notices the Lamborghini, right?
Yeah, no one notices that parked out front somewhere. Oh, and they don't want to get noticed. They drive Tubbs's what is that, Cadillac or whatever he had, and I also think it's funny in our television shows. The star associated with the car had driver. Like that was Starsky's car.
Right.
Hutch had a piece of shit. But like that was Starsky's car, which I thought was
true.
funny.
Hutch had a crummy car.
Yeah, and you didn't get to see him drive it very much. So.
I know. You just picked up that die cast of the Torino, and I still have my model kit. I'm going to build this one of these days, damn it. Damn it.
He's going to build it one of
I
these
gotta
days,
build
dude.
one. I gotta build this. This has been sitting on my shelf, but it's a cool box. But it's like I gotta build that thing. But I gotta paint it the right way. The paint job. See, there's the die cat. That thing looks sweet.
Yeah, that looks nice.
Yeah, I'm trying not to get the glowing stuff, but this thing pops, man. It's got that. If you can see it in the background, it's got that little
cherry light on top,
siren,
right?
flasher, the light and stuff. There's a freaking great scene in the opening of that show with them walking in the rain with the car and the light going. Yeah. Man, find that thing. That just looks like a sweet ass scene, and that's just a promo. So I'm like, holy cow. And that's a Ford Gran Torino. And I always thought I'm going to get that car one day. And then reality sets in. And by the time I was driving, it was already a classic. Right. So to find a real Gran Torino with the stripe, because I saw a lot as a kid, you could see them on the road,
I drove one.
They're already, what's that?
I drove a 1974, I believe it was. My dad got Gran Torino Brougham. It was the 4-door gold with fender skirts on the back, and that thing was like a battleship. And by the time I was 16 and started to drive, that car was still hanging around. It was 74, so yeah, it was only like 12 years later or whatever.
Wow.
And that thing was a boat, man. That thing was huge.
Bob got this sweet-ass Ford Probe when we were younger, and it was all black. It was nice. Like, it was a nice-ass car. Yeah, dude. And at the time, that becomes it's just your mode of transportation. We don't think of it as anything else. But, like, I got dudes that I work with now. I work for Ford now, a local Ford. And a lot of them talk about that Probe and how cool it was, back in the day. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like,
black on black.
I have a perfect picture. I'm going to have to send you that picture, Bob, unless you still got it from me. But beautifully sitting in his driveway. Go ahead.
First car that I bought on my own with a little help from my parents, but it was like my first real car that I, bought new, so because I started working after college, and it was like, I want that one. And that thing was a manual shift. Oh man, it was big tires, and it was fun. It was a fun car.
Yeah.
But it was my Batmobile. I put on the Danny Elfman Batman theme and drive that thing around. But yeah, movies and TVs were always, like you say, the Miami Vice. That was probably the 80s. That one, and what? 18 was
the A-Team van.
Big vehicle. Had a big.
Let's not forget Automan.
A-Team van, yeah.
Automan.
Knight Rider. We're gonna leave out Knight Rider on this.
Knight Rider's Knight Rider's probably got to be. I mean, come on. As far as the '80s goes in cars, that's got to be kind of number one. That is it, dude.
But there are also things that we, associate with characters like, the emergency vehicles from that show, or the Adam 12 car.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Yeah, they have
the SWAT van,
their own particular car.
SWAT van.
Any chance we get to drop the SWAT theme is a good chance for me.
Right. You're right, but emergency was big for vehicles.
Yeah, big.
That kind of bled into the emergency.
That's why we're watching 911 today, or whatever it is. So.
Oh yeah. Let me tell you, collectible wise, those emergency vehicles in any form, super expensive.
Yeah.
Really?
Even if you get your first, they're out there. They're real knockoffs. But if you get your first edition Hot Wheels that are designed like them, even those are pricey.
Well, I think
they're
Bob's a good example of why they're that way, because those kids played with those vehicles as kids.
Yeah.
When we were kids. Yeah.
I got a picture of me with a SWAT van. I played the shit out of that thing. I mean, there were so many bad guys taken down because of SWAT in my house.
Yeah.
They roll up. I mean, they roll up to the Christmas tree, and that was a high-rise apartment, and they had to clear it out.
Send in the TAC team.
And then, I can't let it go without saying, like, every action figure, Big Jim or whatever, always had a camper or a van. Evel Knievel had his cool van.
Oh, we also had the Snake River Canyon rocket car, right?
The rocket car. I mean, Evel Knievel did all kinds of jumps in my living room.
There's a great guy on Instagram or something. Or he's either on Instagram or does the Evel Knievel jumps today.
Find out who that guy is. Oh my god, dude, those are amazing.
What does he do?
He sets up elaborate jumps.
He has the original cycle. It's exactly does. He sets up these jumps. It's always to this awesome music, and it's all slow mo coming down. Dude, how does that thing land up every time? I wonder, like, is that take 47?
It's probably take 47.
You know.
Right?
But they're great.
Yeah, you'll have to find that.
Oh, they're great.
If I'm not mistaken, they still make it today. They still make him today.
Yeah, I got it one time on vacation about 8 or 10 years ago. I was on vacation with the family, and I saw it in a toy shop. Yeah, I'm like, I got to get this. It was the rev thing. And it was like, so when my kids were little, we did a few jumps in our current house.
And the fun of Evel Knievel,
they loved
was
it.
not making him have a successful jump. The fun was having him wipe out spectacularly. That's the best part of the toy. So,
he comes off early. Yeah. You never knew when you were cranking it. It didn't have a release. It just the wheel had to get up to a certain thing, and it went itself.
He belted onto that.
So like you never knew. You just kind of had to get that feel for the crank, and There it was. There he goes. Oh my God, he's hitting the wall. Oh, he hit the cat.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Let's get into the 80s real quick.
Yeah. As I say, 80s is the big stuff for us. So
the two big ones for me would be the Ecto-1.
Yes.
And Marty McFly's
and the DeLorean. Right.
I mean, those are
neck and neck for.
I mean, I'm trying to think of other 80s cars that would top those. I mean,
there's a new movie coming out with Ryan Gosling right now called The Fall Guy.
Oh, he had his own truck.
Truck was from our show. So The Fall Guy was big with Lee Majors back in the day, and he had that pickup truck. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't rank it up there in top 10, but
it was recognizable enough.
Very iconic. It was recognizable enough. Yeah,
had a big eagle on the hood.
I want to mention too, coming out of the 70s and stuff, or 80s. In the 80s, there was a movie called The Cannonball Run.
Oh yeah,
which
a series of
featured varying different a series of cars driven by stars. They weren't anything to really kind of, really get into. Like nothing really stood out, but it was cool that each of the characters had a personality that kind of here's the car that fits with them. You know what I mean? So I thought,
yeah, those were like watching a celebrity roast on wheels.
Yeah,
and they're fun though. Hey, listen, if I could go to my local store right now and pick up a die-cast ambulance with a Captain Chaos little figure, I'd buy that in a heartbeat.
I'm Captain Chaos. I'm Captain America.
Yes.
And folks, if you love bloopers, go look up bloopers for the Cannonball Run. Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise are such a pair back in the day. Oh my God, those guys.
Well, we can't get out of the 80s without talking about the Mad Max car.
The Mad Max car, yeah.
The Interceptor, I guess, right? I mean, that thing still made it into the Fury Road movie, which I was happy to see it in there, but it didn't last too long, I guess. I think it lasted like a minute and a half.
Yeah, it was in both the original Mad Max and Mad Max 2. It got trashed in Mad Max 2. But that's like, man, that's a boss car right there. Holy cow. Like that's
as far as kick-ass cars, I mean.
There's a scene that I was telling Jim about. Now, this is not the V8. This is not the last of the V8 Interceptor. So Max in the movie has it's a Ford Falcon. I don't know the year. Is it maybe 77 as well?
73, I think it is.
It's colored. It's got the yellow and the blue and the lights on it. But man, there's a scene in there when he turns the keys and you hear that bad boy rumble up.
Get in the guts, Barry.
She's the last of the V8s.
Shut the gate on this one, Maxie. It's the duck's guts.
Yeah, she's the last of the V8. She sucks nitro. Base 4 head. Twin overhead cam. 600 horsepower through the wheel. With the blower.
With the blower.
Oh, she's meanness, but the music and the bitch is born to run.
I admit, I was like, damn, go get him, Max.
You're all talking with reverence as you talk about it.
You've seen it recently. Is there does he have a red family car that has it's a weird looking, like it has a long front end and a short station wagon back end?
Yeah, it's a station wagon one, too. That's also part of that green light stuff. So good luck ever finding that, Bob. That'd be a coup you ever find that one.
A rough one.
That's the one where they're on vacation stuff. Well, Bob got the easiest of the three.
Yeah, the cheapest too. That Interceptor, I mean, there's a company called Auto Art that makes like the high end, like customized, weathered, with the gas tanks and everything, figures, and, those are like $300, $600, $800. I mean, they go up. Those are serious collector stuff. I got the $40 one.
Mad Max, that car culture was, George Miller knew what he was doing. Fast cars chasing each other. Even the modern time with Fury Road, bastardizing whatever those cars are just to make them sweet. And, even the truck is awesome.
I'm looking forward to the new movie, too.
Are you really? You want to see that Furiosa?
I got two more to get us out of the 80s.
I trust in George Miller. Jim's trying to drag us out of the 80s.
Two more. EM50 Urban Assault Vehicle from Stripes.
Oh my god! Come on, man.
All right, but hey,
oh my god,
this one for
I forgot about
this
that
one for certain. The Wagon Queen family truckster. So how do we forget the station wagon from Vacation?
that first one, dude, because it just looks weird. It's
Right.
got an extra panel and like it just looks so funny.
Yes.
Yeah, so I admit that one's as much a character as that movie.
Yes.
So you know.
Yeah, we do kind of run into vehicles that are either characters or shout out to Herbie the Love Bug,
Right.
or just an accessory. I would stop and get my picture taken with a Herbie the Love Bug if it was on the street today.
Yeah, dude, those I saw
original
those
one,
in
I would
theaters.
be all
That was
over.
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
I'm going to bring us into modern times for a second, even though it's a classic car. So, well, I'm a huge fan. This is me. Let me pull this out back here. This is one of my favorite cars of all time.
Oh yeah, is this the Aston Martin?
That's the Aston Martin DB8, I think it is, you know. And I say bring us into modern times because the Daniel Craig series, especially Skyfall, he pulled that car out again.
Yeah.
And in the latest one, No Time to Die, Jim and I were talking about how there's a guy that customized bullet holes. And well, he put that car through the ringer. I'll tell you what, I don't know if it was a proper send-off, but he used every gadget you can think of except the ejector seat.
It's kind of a sophisticated Batmobile, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, it's weird because, you know, the Q section puts machine guns in it and stuff. You know, I don't know where all that crap goes in a car. You just got to do suspension of disbelief. But I don't know. That's one of, like, if I got to bookend my stuff, it's the Starsky and Hutch and then the DB8 or the Aston Martin. Like, those are two that are really.
But the Bond films, it always felt like they were trying to push a new car every movie, and that's more of a sponsorship thing. I think it's like product placement.
Yeah.
Except they don't really
is.
become characters until you get to. I consider there's just two Bond cars. The one marked as held up, and then the Lotus that turns into a submarine from The Spy Who Loved Me. Right. Other than that, I don't want to hear about whatever BMW you're driving. You can just forget all that. So those are the two classic Bond cars.
And by the way, for those folks out there who like cars and collectibles, and maybe you're checking this show out, there's a reason why we're not touching the Fast and the Furious franchise.
Yeah.
Like that
I know.
is on
There's
its
a
own
million
level.
cars.
Yeah, dude, you cannot touch that. That's something else entirely. This is just
That's a whole
basically-
episode of, if you
Oh my
wanted to
God,
get into
it
that.
is, so.
Same with, I was going to say Batman is kind of like that too, the current day Batman with all the iterations of the Batmobile. And my favorite being the Tumbler. I absolutely love the Tumbler.
Oh, yeah, shout out for the Tumbler.
I love the Tumbler.
I love the Tumbler. I never knew that. Look, folks, here alive. Okay, learning that today. I did not know Bob was such a huge Tumbler fan.
I love it.
We
I
have
just
much
love
more
it.
to
So
talk about.
original.
I just saw one the other
It's
day
kinda like a military
online
vehicle.
that was the pre-black paint Tumbler you could get as well.
Yeah, the camouflage looking thing.
The camouflage one, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Tumbler was nice because it made sense as to how it comes about. Like the guy just didn't build this ridiculous car out of nothing in his back cave. It was military hardware.
I get chills. I'm sorry. I get chills when Christian Bale is like, they've done all their talk and stuff, and suddenly he's like, "What's that?" And then that Morgan Freeman with that low voice, he's like, "Oh, the Tumbler. Oh, you don't want to mess with that." Like it's such a moment where he's like, "Yeah, I want to mess with that." And they get that test thing, and oh my God, that's a great moment for a car. Even though he uses it in the movie later to do what he needs to do with it. That little intro is so good. I like the Robert Pattinson car.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's another one that's kind of from reality. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's a souped up car. So I'm like, good for them to kind of ground it in not the weirdness like Tim Burton.
I love the fact that
Burton's car
he had a hard time driving that. Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, how are you gonna?
Because you're not taking it out to test it.
All right, yeah. But I don't like the previous two. I don't like any of the Burton Batmobiles. I'm not a huge fan.
It's very decorative, but it's very impractical. So, it
was there for the movies alone.
It fits in his world. It fits in his world.
Eddie Murphy in Beverly Hills Cop, man, he drove a sky blue crappy Chevy Nova. Which, I don't know. I always thought that was really funny. I'm sure they did it on purpose. They gave him the worst car, and then he went to Beverly Hills with all that nice stuff. But
what car did he stick the banana in?
Yeah, the banana. And
that was just the cop car. It was probably a Fury.
Yes.
Whatever we keep bitching about, the Fury thing.
Plymouth
Fury cop.
Just the man who stuck the banana in the tailpipe. That guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Just the man who ruined the shrimp buffet at the Hollywood. Yeah, that guy.
This the man. I love it.
Go back and pause that scene where Eddie Murphy throws the bad guy across the shrimp buffet. Just pause that and look at the size of the stuntman with the afro. That is actually the guy that throws him across. Oh. It's such a bad edit. It's not even funny. Oh, my God. Oh, shout out to my boy Sylvester Stallone for his car from Cobra.
That's part of his character. That's as much of his character as.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that's got to be part of his character. Yeah. The car gets destroyed in the movie, spoiler alert, and then he tries to get it repaired, and they're like, it's not in the budget. Bro, I wouldn't bring my classic car like that into work. What are you, stupid?
Right, the car that looks like when you hit a pothole and it'd take out the undercarriage of it. He's not driving.
Yeah,
he's not driving that in Detroit, so I can tell you that. Well, I've got a couple written down that we haven't talked about.
We'll throw them out real quick.
So Magnum's Ferrari, right? Thomas Magnum's Ferrari. That's a staple of the 80s.
Yep.
The Ninja Turtles drove a battle van. That's a staple of the 80s.
Blues Brothers cop car. It didn't have like a huge megaphone.
At the end of it, it had a huge megaphone on the top of it. That's a fantastic pull. Yep.
Oh my God.
We glossed over
Plymouth Fury.
Yeah, we glossed over Smokey and the Bandit, which is just that's a
pod. Yeah.
Smokey and the Bandit's a pod until itself, I think. That and maybe like Convoy Trucker. We can get into all that.
Yeah, era. Dude, that's an apex, man. Like when you get Smokey and the Bandit, that's kind of like that's every awesome driving race movie that you can. And I'm the coolest star on the planet with my mustache.
Right.
Like that's kind of like that's where that
movie comes from. A stuntman's dream, right? So stunt driver's dream. Yeah,
it's just that's crazy.
We get into also the Landmaster from Damnation Alley, which is a very particular vehicle with its tri-wheels.
That's the three-wheel thing? Tri-wheels, yeah.
Saturday Morning had a version of that from Arc 2. It was kind of a similar vehicle.
Oh, my God.
And then...
wow, you guys got some good stuff on here, man.
I've got
Holy cow.
Wayne's World's Pacer.
Oh, yeah.
With Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then, last but not least, Grease Lightning from the movie Grease.
Oh.
Their car that they took down the Thunder Road.
Is that a real car, though?
Yeah. That's just a souped-up hot rod, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And it has two variations in the movie. I believe it might be in the Dream. The song part, it's white, right? And then when he gets it,
I think it's what they want it to be. And then when he does the drag race, it's a real car. Like,
what?
I
thought at the end they died, and that's them riding to heaven.
Yeah, that's the. Yeah, well, there's the great lesson learned from Grease is that you should follow the in crowd and throw away all your morals and values and do what you want or do what they want. Don't be true to yourself.
You heard it here, folks. It's official.
Right. Yeah, well, the whole thing is
that's no longer
Sandy died.
It's no longer a fan theory.
He didn't save her at the beach in the tail.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Yeah, she died in the water. It was purgatory. It was her ready to go to the light, and that's what happens at the end.
Yep.
You know what? It's weird. The car flies away.
Movie.
Like the theory holds.
Why not?
Jurassic
Park Jeeps.
Yeah.
Those are iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't tell me with a wavy hand. That's bullshit.
But here's the thing: they only show up in the first movie. There's 6 movies.
Yeah, no, but we get the one you can buy now is the Jurassic World Jeep that shows up in Jurassic World.
Yeah, I know.
It's look the.
I would say so.
Yeah, it is.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us on our little trip down memory lane for hot rod cars of our childhood and whatnot in movies and TV. And if nobody else has anything to say, then as always, I'm going to say, take us out, Bob.
Please join us on our Facebook or Instagram page and join in the conversation at the Fandom Outpost. And please subscribe if you like this video and other videos that we've made. We have some new ones up this month that might be fun to watch. So please subscribe and like. And look forward to any comments because we love interacting with everybody. So I guess for the Fandom Outpost, I'm Bob.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Mark. Goodbye.
We'll see you next time, everyone.
Bye. Drive safe.